Good everyone, welcome to Solar Valley Limited. My name is Tuchuku, and today we'll be discussing on the causes of fire outbreaks on solar installations. I know you must have seen many videos on the internet about fire burning on the roof from solar panels, or fire from batteries that have caused explosions and the building is on fire, or maybe the fire that emanated from inverter. People might say it's inverter room. So all these things have led to people being scared, especially landlords being scared of people installing solar in their homes, mounting solar panels on their rooftops, and it has led to many coming out on social media and say that people should not mount solar panels on rooftops, that it should only be on a carport, in as much as they have a point that is safer. But still, solar panels, if installed properly, was designed to be mounted on surfaces like rooftops as well as the carports and the likes. So in this video, we'll be discussing the causes of these fire outbreaks from solar panels, batteries, inverters, and the likes. And we'll be looking at the potential hazards that lead to this fire and how to safeguard yourself. So I'll be categorizing the hazards of this fire into four. Number one is from the solar panels, number two from the inverters, number three from the batteries, then number four from installation from the installer. Fire outbreak can occur from the solar panels mounted on the roof because of many reasons. Number one is from something called hotspots on the solar panels. Let us see what causes these hotspots and how it ends up in fire outbreak. Now, the major cause of hotspots on solar panels is due to cracks, shattered glass, and something called snail trail. So these are lines of weaknesses on the solar panels that creates or hinders the free flow of electrical current. So when this electrical current is unable to move freely around the solar panels, that area gets incredibly hot, and that is what we refer to as hotspot. So we should not look at the term, we should look at the physical cause of that hotspot, that is cracked solar panels. So cracked solar panels, shattered panels, when we talk about snail trails on solar panels, they are a form of, they can appear as a line of discoloration on the panels. They create and they trap in so much heat that the under part of these solar panels might catch fire, and that is where you see solar panels on roof burning, and people are wondering what is going on. It was okay, and now all of a sudden it's burning. It did not just come from nowhere. It's not village people. It's not somebody that sends Ugun or Amadioha. It is a faulty. It is from a fault, an inherent fault from many years ago that is just appearing now. Number two is a faulty diode. Yes, what is a diode? A diode is an electrical component at the junction box located at the back of the solar panel. So the function of this diode is just to direct the flow of electrical current. And then when this diode is faulty, the current cannot flow as intended. When current cannot flow as intended, it traps in the faulted section, be it a shorted cell or a shorted cell in the solar panel or a shaded area. All this creates what I discussed earlier, hotspots. And then with time, it traps enough heat that it catches fire. Tukumbo panels. Yes. So it's not as if Tukumbo panels are a recipe for rooftop fires from solar panels. No. The reason why I'm talking about Tukumbo panels is because of the state in which those Tukumbo panels were bought. Simple. Now, every product, including human beings, everything has a life cycle. And most of these panels that have been imported as Tukumbo panels or used panels into Nigeria, it's not due to love or whatever. It's because many of those panels are reaching their end of cycle use, and then because Nigeria is a core dumping ground, I'm using Nigeria as a case study. Nigeria is a core dumping ground. These panels are brought to Nigeria. When you look at these panels and you examine them, you will see these lines of weakness, you see these miniature cracks, you see these snail trails and the likes, and those are recipe for future hotspots. We have a higher temperature compared to the western part of the world. Another thing you should note about the Tukumbo panels is that they don't come with warranty. Yes, so once you purchase it, anything that you see, it's on your head, it's on you, as simple as that. And then physically examining these panels is not just it. A lot of engineers, what they do, they just check, oh, the voltage is okay, it's charging well, and the likes. They don't know how to interpret this the physical looks on the panels. Then another cause of fire in solar panels mounted on the roof is due to wrong cable sizing. Yes, wrong cable sizing, when the customer or the engineer is trying to save costs, and instead of using let me say a 10 mm cable, you end up using a 6 mm or even a 4 mm. And what happens is that the current passing through these cables gets so hot, and then it can melt the wire. And when it melts the wire bridge, and then it causes fire. But I think another reason that panels might catch fire, which to me, I think many of the incidents can be attributed to that, because I have seen about two Yes, I've seen about twice of them that I was able to spot on before it happened. So when engineers are installing wires, they don't use MC4 connectors, and they use electrical tapes to do it. So it's not just the electrical tape that is bad, it is how they do it, because most of the time when they wrap these wires at the points that they do their joining, they don't do it well. And with cycles of rainfall, moisture, and heat, these electrical tapes will dry up, and the tapes will fall off, the wires will become exposed, and when they breach, that is fire. You're just looking at another major fire outbreak. Poor installation. Yes, poor installation. As I said earlier, when the installer they do not use adequate measures in or adequate procedures in doing the installation, you don't use a mounting rack, solar mounting rack, to do your install, to mount the solar panels on the roof. The what's it called? What I said earlier about not using MC4 connectors and using electrical tapes, and not even wrapping it up properly. That when these tapes dry up, they can breach and cause fire. So having discussed the various hazards that can result to fire outbreak on solar panels, I will now look at the preventive measures that can be taken to ensure that we don't fall a victim to such. And number one is to ensure you buy high quality panel. Yes, high quality panels that have gone through rigorous testing. That is one attribute of good panels. It's not just about doing the lab testing. These high quality panels have gone through simulations of various temperatures and the likes, various scenarios and the likes. The durability of the glass and the likes have been tested. So when you're buying them, you're not just buying warranty, you're also buying peace of mind. Number two is to ensure that you do regular maintenance on your solar panels. By regular maintenance, I mean just making sure that there are no accumulated debris or unwanted shading on the panels. Because remember what I discussed about the creation of hotspots. These debris, because they hinder the flow of electrical currents, they can create those hotspots that can lead to fire outbreak. You use the correct cable sizing. Yes, make sure you use the correct cable sizing. Where you're supposed to use a 10 mm, make sure you use a 10 mm. No cutting of cost, or no trying to play the intelligent one. That it works does not mean it will keep on working. Yeah, that is one thing that I've discovered a lot of times. They'll be like, oh, it dey work, it dey work. You connect the thing, as far as there is an input for the solar charge controller, and you say, oh, it's charging, we can go. No, 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 that is charging now. With time, that wire will get so hot that it will burn. Then instead of buying Tukumba panels, because remember, these panels don't come with warranty. Once you buy it and you leave the store, that is the end of it. Whatever you face, you're on your own. So instead of buying these Tukumba panels, why not get high quality brand new panels? You have the likes of Jinko, Trinia Solar, Longi, Flames, and the likes. There are many high quality panels out there. I just mentioned the top tier ones, but a lot of high quality ones that that are still cheaper to get. Then installation of the solar panels. Installation of the solar panels. Make sure you get a professional to do that. Yes, many people, they go and they buy the solar components, panels, inverters, batteries, they buy themselves, then they look for somebody to install it. And nowadays, everybody does solar installation. Every electrician is a solar engineer. So don't allow people to learn on your job. On the causes of fire outbreak on solar installations, we'll be going to the second major component of the solar energy system that can cause this fire, and that is the inverter, especially the hybrid inverter. And these hybrid inverters make use of high frequency or high voltage. And most of these inverters, the recommended VOC is from 450 to 500. So that is the open volts circuit of these inverters. And during installation, care must be taken that the recommended or the maximum VOC or voltages of these inverters are not exceeded. And a major pitfall is where installers, do their installation and get so close to this maximum VOC that is acceptable by the inverter. And during cold temperatures, that is when the solar panels give their highest volts. And if it goes above the maximum band that the inverter can take, the inverter can overheat and it will cause fire. So to ensure that that pitfall is avoided, make sure there is adequate room in your installation, and make sure you don't string your solar panels so close to the maximum permissible by the manufacturer. Then we take a look at wire sizing. Yes, an undersized wire is a big recipe for fire outbreak. If an undersized wire is used, the current that flows through that wire, just like the case of the solar panels, the current that flows through the wire is more than what the wire can take. It gets so hot, it melts, it bridges, and then it catches fire. And then you see the house on fire, and you're saying, oh, the inverter room caught fire. So it's not the inverter room. It's not as if the inverter chose to catch fire. It is, as a result of this poor wire that was used. Okay, so still on inverter, the third reason that can cause fire outbreak from inverters is overheating. Yes, overheating. This overheating can be a result of faulty fans, wrong installation. Now, every inverter has what is called a blowout section, a blowout fan. These are the section or the parts of the inverter where the fan is located. Now that fan is the function of that fan is to cool the components of the inverter by blowing out heat. And then depending on the way the inverter is to be mounted, if it's a if it's a wall-sided, wall-mounted inverter, sorry, you should ensure that the blowout section is not blocked by an adjacent wall. That means you should just make room for the blowout heat of the fan. Then we also look at installation. Yes, inverters should be installed in areas that have good ventilation and that are not prone to water ingestion. You don't install inverters close to the kitchen or in the kitchen. You don't install inverters in the kitchen because of the heat and also due to water hazards and the likes. So to safeguard yourself from these hazards, make sure you get an experienced professional for your inverter installation. Make sure the inverters are installed in an airy environment or airy room. The blower section is it has adequate spacing to ensure that the heat from the inverter comes out freely. There is no risk of water getting to it, so you should install it in the best possible place, away from windows, kitchen, bathrooms, or other places that there can be water inlets. Make use of reputable and experienced engineers or installers for your inverter installation, your solar installation, so that when you're doing your installation for your hybrid inverters, you should not go above the recommended voltage. Not just doing that at the point of installation, you should envisage the cold times of the year when the temperatures will be low and the voltage will go up, so that they don't exceed the maximum capacity the inverter can take. Then you should also look at the wire sizing. You should ensure that you make use of the recommended wire sizing for the load that the inverter is going to take, so that the wire will not melt or burn out as a result of the high current going through it. Then also, another thing that you can do to prevent inverter fire outbreak from inverters is, when you notice anything, you call somebody. If you notice an unusual noise or unusual heat from the inverter, quickly call the technician, call your engineer to come and take a look. Those are the warning signs, just like the appliances that you have at home. When you hear some certain things or you feel they are misbehaving, you don't wait till they shut down. So this is an electrical equipment. Make sure whenever you notice any unusual sound, call your technician to take a look before it goes out of hand. Taking a look at the third major cause of fire outbreak in solar installations, we look at the battery. Yes, and when we look at the battery side, it's majorly centered around the charging, and it's basically overcharging. Now, overcharging occurs when the inverter charger or the solar charge controller keeps on pumping in current into these batteries, even when the battery cells are not accepting these currents properly. This could be due to dead battery, or a faulty battery that has been sulfurated heavily, or one of the cells that have been shorted. So you see the battery, it keeps on getting hot, but because the battery itself is not but because the battery is still not full, that section of the battery will keep on discharging itself and heating up. It will get to a stage that it will swell and it can explode. Yes, so you should watch out for that. A second cause of fire outbreak in batteries is battery mismatch. Yes, when you mix a large battery with a smaller battery, one will be undercharging or it will overcharge, and when it's overcharging, it causes that excessive heat buildup, which can lead to explosion. Then still on the battery mismatch, we look at BMS, battery management system. So when you pair inverters to a battery that is not compatible with, or rather when you pair batteries, especially lithium battery, to an inverter that it is not compatible with, these batteries can malfunction because they don't communicate well with the inverter. Yes, they can malfunction. The lithium batteries are built quite differently from the tubular batteries or the dry cell batteries. So when I say dry cell, I refer to the gel or EGM batteries. They are built quite differently, and they need a specialized BMS, as I said earlier, so that they can communicate properly with the inverter and not go beyond what is needed. Then we look at poor battery maintenance. when you're using a flooded battery, that is the tubular batteries, you should make sure the distilled water don't go below the recommended gauge, because this can dry up the plates and create a cause of overheating. And remember, overheating is a major cause of battery damage, which can create shorted cells, and shorted cells will make the battery to keep on absorbing heat and energy, and can swell, and it can explode and catch fire. On battery mismatch and mixing high capacity batteries with a lower capacity battery, even mixing old batteries with new batteries, it can also create these fire hazards. This is because the old batteries will overcharge. They tend to overcharge, while the newer ones, because the newer ones still have more capacity to fill. So while you're still filling the old ones, probably the customer bought the new ones because the old battery is already filling. So when you buy a new battery and you put them together, it's either one is overcharging or one is undercharging, and then the one that is overcharging can create those fire hazards that we are talking of. So to safeguard yourself against these potential fire hazards from the battery section, make sure you don't manage with faulty batteries. If your battery is faulty, you see the battery is beginning to swell up, one side is swelling up, it is heating up excessively, just throw that battery away. Don't try to manage, don't try to mix batteries, especially the faulty ones. Don't even try to mix batteries between brands, or when the age difference is that much, because of what I explained earlier, the different rates of charging. Use high quality inverters and chargers and charge controllers, because if the inverter is faulty or the solar charge controller is faulty, it will keep on charging and charging the batteries even when the battery is full. The faulty charging component section of this inverter or the controller will keep on delivering charge to these batteries, heating it up to the point that it can cause fire. Ensure inverter and battery compatibility. Yes, this is especially true for lithium batteries. You should ensure that the inverter in which you are connecting your lithium batteries to have the proper BMS for that lithium battery. That you had a previous inverter installation, and probably you're using tubular batteries or whatever batteries you're using before, and then you want to change your battery bank, you shouldn't just go ahead and buy a lithium battery and connect it to the inverter because it will work. No, you should ensure that both of them are compatible. If they're not compatible, you are just wishing disaster. There are a lot of videos out there about lithium batteries exploding. Yeah, it's one of these could be the major cause. Do the proper battery maintenance. Make sure the battery, the distilled water in the battery does not go below the recommended level. Keep the battery terminals clean. Make sure it is away from moisture and heat. So that there will be adequate ventilation for the battery. Then we come to the installation. Yes, installation. Many of these fire outbreaks are actually due to poor installation. Poor installation could be found in many of the areas that I've pointed out earlier, from improper cable sizing to poor insulation to poor situation of the batteries or the inverters and the likes. So poor installation is usually from human error, and the only way to safeguard against that is to get experienced professionals to do your solar installation. Yes, solar now is everybody does solar. Any electrician claims to be able to install solar, so you just have to be careful in picking the right person to do the job for you. And that brings us to the end of this video. Thanks for watching, and once again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Stay safe.